Hello, boys and girls and those in between and beyond. It's me, your host for this week, Samantha, joined by the world's number 14 ranked Kevin Owens impersonator, Jack.
Hello. Thank you.
How are you this week, Jack?
Oh, I'm golden, thank you, mate. Not too bad. Yeah. We left on such a high with All Out 2021. What a fucking great show that was to end with Danielson and Adam Cole. Just good vibes continue until now, and yeah, I'm looking forward to discussing this show with you.
I'm still kind of like coming down from that, and then to kind of slightly date the podcast, even though we're watching a show that's 20 years old. We've just had AEW Dynasty over the weekend as well. And Tony Khan, he's done it again, basically. But moving on, or moving backwards, I suppose, today we are looking at WWE Unforgiven 2006.
Oh, yeah.
Which is emanating live from what's now known as the Scotiabank Arena in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. It used to be called the Canadian Airlines Centre. Don't know if Canadian Airlines went bust or, I don't know, their sponsorship just ran out, whatever. September 17th, 2006 for this one. Attendance is 16,105 and the buy rate for this show was 289,000. So pretty good numbers here for what's kind of deemed, I suppose, as like a B show, B pay-per-view.
Yeah, it's raw exclusive as well, isn't it? So, yeah. Yes,
exactly. So people were forking out, like, I think it was like $50 was the pay-per-view rate at this time. So to do that for not a big four, I don't know, maybe it was less, but even still. But you had two big matches kind of underpinning this show, and that was DX versus the McMahons and our friend and yours, The Big Show. He's back, baby. He's not going anywhere. So we have that and a Hell in a Cell match. And we also have, for the WWE Championship, a TLC match between John Cena and Edge. And we also have Trish Stratus's quote-unquote retirement. This would be her retirement at the time. She has come back a couple of times since, but
more than a couple of times. I'd say. But yes,
this for all intents and purposes, on September 17th, 2006, this was Trish Stratus's retirement. Yes. Jack, is this your first time? Was this your first time watching this show, or have you seen it before?
No, I think I've seen it before, but I think last week when you said Unforgiven 2006, my mind just didn't really go anywhere. So I had seen it before. I only really remembered after being, I guess, prompted that it was the McMahon DX Hell in a Cell match and then the TLC match between Cena and Edge. And I was kind of excited for it because, like you said, it's those matches and those stories were the big tent poles that really kept this show, you know, interesting, I guess. So yeah, no, I was excited for it, and but like that being said, I wouldn't have seen it for probably like 20 years or whatever it was. Like, so it was definitely my first time in fucking years, and like with a proper like self-aware adult fucking hat on and an analysis hat on. So yeah, you wearing your smart hat, yes, and me wearing my. This for me was like this Unforgiven 2006 is to me what like Royal Rumble 2000 is to you. Right, yeah. This was the first pay-per-view I ever bought on DVD. Yeah. I remember going to Smith's Toys when I was probably 10. Mm-hmm. So not long after the show had actually aired. And they had like a wrestling DVD section in Smith's Toys. And seeing the poster of John Cena with Unforgiven etched in blood onto his bicep and chest, and being like, oh my god, John Cena's on this show, I must have it. And then having to like beg and plead with my mother because obviously it was 18 rated, and then go to like the minimum wage guy at the counter all excited while he looked dead behind the eyes. So this show for me was very... I went into this trying to take off the rose-tinted glasses, and I think I have done that successfully. Yeah. I used to watch this show pretty much every week. Mm-hmm. When the opening hype package for the show started playing and I was watching it on Netflix, I was like, oh my god, I remember this word for word. I was like mouthing along with the voiceover guy, and he hits that final line of who will find redemption and who will remain.
Unforgiven. And I was like, oh baby, we're back. It's here. 2006. We've got the butt rock theme song. We've got the unique pay-per-view sets. We've got tons of signs in the arena. We've got Jerry Lawler and Jim Ross on commentary. I feel good. I feel young again, you know? So we kick off the show with the Intercontinental Championship match between Jeff Hardy and Johnny Nitro. So Johnny Nitro at this point has been Intercontinental Champion since June 25th, which incidentally is Michael Jackson's anniversary. Oof. Sad. But he beat... That for some reason that date is just forever in my mind as that. But anyway, he beat Carlito and Shelton Benjamin in a triple threat match at Vengeance. Jeff Hardy has recently returned to the WWE after a roughly 3-year absence. So this is his first pay-per-view appearance in about 3 years. So he returned a couple of Raws before this. I think it was the Raw after SummerSlam, actually. Edge was in the ring cutting a promo after he'd successfully defended the championship against John Cena in his hometown, except it wasn't his hometown, it was his home state. But anyway, Jeff Hardy then interrupted him, got into an altercation with Edge, had a match with Edge. John Cena interrupted the match, and Jeff Hardy went a separate way, started feuding with Johnny Nitro on Raw over the IC title. So that's how we get to here. So Jeff gets a decent sized pop. I don't think the crowd was ever super loud during this show for kind of the undercard, but you know, he gets kind of a warm reception. So if you notice, the Intercontinental Championship is donning some sort of green and blue paint on it. Yes. It's looking a bit worse for wear. So this came after a backstage segment on Raw where Jeff chucked a can of paint over Johnny Nitro and Melina.
That little rascal.
Yeah, I know, fucker. so the belt is looking a bit blech right now. What did you think of that IC title design? Because I feel like it's a bit not as like divisive as some other championship designs, but I know it's not everyone's favorite one, but I fancied it.
Yeah, I think it's the IC design that we grew up with, and the generation before us kind of had that classic one that is so widely revered. So I think there's going to be a bit of natural generational bias from the two of us. But yeah, no, I liked it. You know, it was the title that I had around the waists of my light action figures, and the title that I looked at for like the Velcro titles that you used to get, the cheap versions back at like Woolworths and all that shit. Like that's the you know, that and the European Championship. I think I had both of those. So those designs, yeah, probably because of a childhood. I like it. Yeah, no, that's fair. I think I think it's better than what we have now. It's just too generic. Getting into the match though, before we go off on another tangent, we start off with some technical wrestling, some, you know, collar and elbow tie up, which momentarily gets interrupted by this comes in very loud, a Nitro sucks chant, which Jeff kind of like joins in on momentarily, but it's like that's the loudest they get nearly all night. But we get some arm drags by Jeff, and Jerry Lawler is watching Melina at ringside. Oh shit, yeah, no, he makes a comment, doesn't he? Like he loves a girl that's a screamer because she's out of the ring, like shrieking. Yeah, she's doing that's her gimmick, is she just like kind of shrieks ringside. And Jerry Lawler is a big fan of that. He's 55 at the time of this show, by the way. That's disgusting. It's really bad, isn't it? I think Melina's probably younger than me at this point in the show. Yeah, it must be, yeah. So Hardy gets a roll up for a 2 after Nitro misses a deep arm drag of his own. We get some European uppercuts from Nitro, which give him the upper hand momentarily, but Jeff stays firmly in control after a backslide and a double leg drop to the nether regions. Nitro rolls to the outside and he tells a fan at ringside to shut up, which also came across really loud on the microphones. Nitro gets back in the ring and he's again trying to gain momentum with a short Irish whip into the corner, but Jeff, he's too wily. He jumps over Nitro and he starts hitting some punches into the corner before a sort of seated drop kick as Nitro is
kind of on the bottom turnbuckle. A swanton attempt is thwarted by Nitro running to the outside, but Jeff hits him with a nice baseball slide before running along the barricade. There's that spot that Jeff loves to do that we've seen him do so many times now. He hits a crossbody on Nitro, sort of clean-ish. It was better than his... was it the Survivor Series one that went wrong?
I think it was both Royal Rumble and Survivor Series, maybe.
Yeah. So this might be his best one so far.
Yeah.
So Hardy climbs up to the top rope and Nitro drop kicks the turnbuckle, which Jeff kind of takes a nasty bump from that. He sort of hits his shoulder and head off like the second turnbuckle and then down to the floor. But Nitro then begins working on the leg, and that is sort of where we get the story of the match now, I guess, is Nitro is just going to begin working on the leg. Because, you know, you got to negate Jeff Hardy's aerial offense, so you take him out of the leg. Hardy misses an enziguri, and Nitro goes back to work on the leg as Melina screams, "Make sure he never walks again, Nitro," from ringside. Jeff sells a sweeping leg kick by Nitro by doing a backflip and landing on his shoulder. That was crazy. Jeff is like holding onto the top rope, and Nitro kind of kicks the leg out from under him, and Jeff just does a full, like, 270, I guess, degrees. Is it 270? Who cares? But he lands hard.
Yeah.
Then Nitro puts Hardy in a straitjacket type hold before going for the cover and getting a 2. Jerry Lawler says he is imagining Melina with duct tape over her mouth.
Oh my god.
I took this note down because that just stood out to me, because the match at this point has just slowed right down.
Yeah.
Because Nitro is just focusing on Hardy's left leg with like knee drops, heel hooks, and just a number of sort of leg-oriented rest holds.
He's spamming the buttons that you do on like SmackDown versus Raw.
Yeah, he's like it's like L and X just over and over again, working the body part. Yeah. Hardy starts fighting back, but his momentum is cut short by a chop block. Nitro goes up top for a corkscrew moonsault, but Hardy rolls out of the way, and both men are now down. There is not a "this is awesome" chant while both men are down, just to let you know. Back to their feet, Hardy hits another double leg drop and an interesting cover, which Nitro has to flip his body around to escape. Nitro is sort of in like a roll-up position, but Hardy has his legs like pinned down with his legs. And Nitro just kind of flops out like a fish, but it was kind of cool looking. Hardy goes up top and he hits a whisper in the wind for a 2. And JR hits this line on commentary, which has forever been imprinted in my brain for some reason, and I've never heard anyone else use this line, and I feel like Excalibur should pull this out at some point. He says, "Jack Doan's hand was coming south, and that shoulder went north," and I was like, oh...
That's great.
Just liquid commentary there, JR. I just loved it. As soon as he hit it, I was like, it made me pop in the same way that, like, Boogeyman coming back at the Rumble 2015 made me pop. It was like, I remember that reference, you know? But anyway, Nitro has Hardy on the top turnbuckle and he attempts a Hurricane Rana, but he's thwarted. Hardy hits a Swanton Bomb, but because of his leg, he can't get to the cover in time. Nitro does as well get a foot on the rope to save himself. Nitro goes back to working the leg, but Hardy hits a mule kick to escape before attempting a twist of fate, which Nitro counters into a leg lock. Hardy eventually breaks the hold and the crowd pops politely. He then gets up. Melina is on the apron, but she gets knocked off the apron by Nitro inadvertently. Hardy takes the chance for a roll-up and gets a 2. Hardy then reverses a seated senton into a powerbomb, and as he's recovering on the middle rope, Melina takes off her boot, clocks Hardy in the head, and Nitro gets the pin and win in 17 minutes and 36 seconds. Thoughts?
Too fucking long.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, you've got two great workers there, but it's a heatless match. It doesn't really mean anything. The IC title, like, why is the IC title on the line anyway? Like, it's just a nothing match. It's your opener to try and get the crowd up to speed and hot for the rest of the show to help set up your main events and stuff. 17 minutes of just fine, you know, and it's just nothing special. It should have been 10 minutes if you had to do this match. if not, something else should have gone on, really.
Absolutely. I think the pacing of the match was a bit weird as well, because it starts off, Jeff is almost wrestling like the heel by doing all of these like deep arm drags and like holding Nitro, and then kind of in the middle the pace picks up and you're like, okay, sweet, we're getting through the gears, and then you get that spot where Jeff like injures his leg, which I think was the story that they were telling from the previous Monday, where Jeff had a match on Raw and injured his leg. But yeah, to then just go from slow to quickening to back to slow again, and then finish with a kind of wonky finish. I went 2.75 on this because there was some good moments in it. It wasn't terrible, but yeah, if it had gone like 11 minutes and they just let these two guys go, maybe, because they're, you know, it's like you said, these are two guys that can work. They know what they're doing. But yeah, it was just really slow and disappointing. What did you do? What did you say for this one?
2.25, because it was too long, way too long, and I put it in the context of it being the opener to try and hype up the crowd. There was too much commentary talk about Melina's boobs for my liking. Jesus. And I know that's like a broadcasting issue rather than an actual match issue, but it's part of the whole experience. And 2.25, which I think is pretty fair. It's like just below average, which, you know, the only reason why it's even that high for me is because both of these guys are competent workers. If it was some like jobber or someone that we didn't really give too much of a fuck about, it probably would be like 2 or 1.75 maybe. So yeah,
that's fair. When that match finished and I kind of was like thinking about it, I was like, I'm gonna give this a 2.75. I started getting sad, so I was like, wait, what if this show is actually trash now? What if this whole time I've been wrong about Unforgiven 2006? But we get a backstage segment because this is a WWE pay-per-view, so we have to have things happen in between.
We have to.
So Jeff is now backstage and he runs into his older brother Matt, who gives him some encouragement. He's like, you know, you did your best out there, mate, or, you know, whatever a Carolina accent sounds like, I guess.
You know what, that wasn't too bad.
Yeah, he's kind of got that goofy like southern accent about him. Yeah. But, you know, he bigs up his brother and is like, you'll get him next time kind of thing. And who should show up? Only Lita, for a little Team Extreme reunion, which she obviously makes note of. She asks what have they been up to these days, and says it's obviously not winning championships.
Burn.
Yeah, but, you know, she says, Jeff, you would be a champion if you weren't such a screw-up, and Matt, you would be a champion if, well, who am I kidding? You would never be a champion. Well, joke's on you, Lita, because Matt Hardy would go on to become ECW champion. So,
joke really is on
sit on that and swivel, baby. But Lita invites them to watch her beat Trish Stratus later, and then watch Edge beat John Cena. She then says that Matt can face John Cena on SmackDown when Edge sends him packing, just like he did to Matt last year. And I was like, "Oh, you bitch!" Okay. I did kind of like that though. I enjoyed the bitchiness of that segment.
Catty.
But we move on to, here we go, baby. Umaga with Armando Alejandro Estrada versus Kane. Thank you. I can't roll my R's. I'm tongue-tied because I wasn't nurtured properly as a baby, but, you know, we do what we can. Umaga and Armando Alejandro Estrada come down to the ring, and Armando cuts a sort of generic heel promo on the crowd where he asks, do you people really think that Kane is a monster? And then people kind of unanimously say yes. He says, if that's what you people think, then you are all just like Kane. A bunch of big, red, ¿cómo se dice? Dummies. Ha. I don't have that written down, by the way. That's how many times I've watched this show. I remember Armando's promo and his cadence.
Fucking hell.
Kane comes out, and it made me think it's really sad that he has the sort of MAGA brainworms now, because his entrance was very cool. His theme was cool. It was broody, you know. It No, not broody. Broody's not the word. Jesus Christ. It
Brooding.
was moody. It was brooding. It was not broody. Yeah, it's sad what happens to some people.
Yeah.
But alas, we got a collar and elbow tie-up to begin this one. Yeah. Kane with some big old overarm punches to Umaga, and both men begin exchanging blows. Umaga takes Kane down with this sick spinning heel kick. He's the first man to leave his feet, but he does then do his sit-up gimmick. Umaga hits Kane with a clothesline over the top rope, but Kane lands on his feet. And Armando Alejandro Estrada gets all up in the action, but he gets too close, and Kane rips him out of his suit jacket, and he reveals the sweatiest shirt known to man underneath. Armando is wearing I suppose it's a bit of like a mustard yellow, but more kind of gold tones in it, which was a terrible idea because that jacket comes off and it's just a giant sweat patch up his back, two giant sweat patches under his armpits. It's wild. But Umaga takes advantage of Kane, no doubt being distracted by the sweaty man, and rolls him back into the ring, hitting a diving headbutt. He then hits Kane with a shining wizard, basically. Which fair dues, I guess. And then he begins just beating the fuck out of Kane in the corner before hitting him with the Tony Storm patented hip attack. Kane is set up for the Samoan spike, but he begins fighting back and they exchange blows again. Kane with some more punches to Umaga in the corner to regain control, but they're like the Kane punches where he goes douche, 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 douche. And they actually look like shit. Followed by a selection of running clotheslines. Kane goes for a fourth running clothesline, but Umaga reverses into a Samoan drop. He meets them sort of halfway in the ring. Umaga goes to the second rope to hit a diving thumb, but Kane sits up, heading up top himself and hits a jumping clothesline. The camera cuts to Armando after Kane sits up, and he's just he's doing the most ridiculous face, which gets a pop out of Jerry Lawler and the crowd. Kane heads up top himself and hits a jumping clothesline. He measures up Umaga then for a choke slam. Umaga tries to spike Kane, but Kane breaks free and tosses Umaga to the outside. Kane follows Umaga into the crowd, and the match ends in a double countout after 7 minutes and 3 seconds. Thoughts?
I didn't like that it ended in a double countout. It's a pay-per-view match, Sam.
Yeah.
I didn't like that. I thought it was a bit of a cop-out, and you sort of almost half expect it to be like an escalation, and you cut back to them backstage or something later in the show.
Yes. Yeah.
And that doesn't happen.
No.
And there's not really a really good story or anything that happens afterwards for it to result in a double count out. So I've done it better. This is my rebooking.
Fucking brilliant. I knew it. As I was reading out the double count out, I was like, I bet you this is what he's done for the rebook.
It pissed me off so much that I had to do.
Let me hear it, baby.
I gave the match as it is 1.5 out of 5 because I just it was too short, and the booking cop out. What did you rate it, by the way?
I gave it 3. Okay.
Yeah, go on.
Yes, the double count out was bullshit. The crowd was also not happy with this.
No.
They were booing the finish, which, yes, why do you need to protect Kane here? Umaga is undefeated.
Yes.
Kane is Kane.
Yes.
But the action in the ring and Armando's promo beforehand and his sweaty shirt, I had a lot of fun with these 7 minutes.
Yeah.
It was 7 minutes in heaven for me.
Yeah, fair enough.
So I went 3 stars for this.
All right, I understand your
But
reasoning.
I want to hear how you can make this a 3.75.
Oh, it would definitely be a 3.75 with my ideas. So
Nice.
The double count out finish for 2 monsters is just lazy booking. So I get that they want to protect both guys, but I think a couple of weeks down the line, Umaga ends up winning a loser leaves Raw match anyway.
He does, yeah.
So why don't you just make it a loser leaves Raw match for the pay-per-view instead of a random Raw in a couple of weeks, right? So you've got Umaga, this young, fearless, undefeated, like you said, monster, against Kane, who Kane has arguably had one of the worst booking years in his career to date in 2006. He lost the tag titles earlier in the year to a fucking cheerleading squad. He spent months being haunted by a date in May to promote some fucking shitty WWE film. And then he lost to a fake version of himself at Vengeance. So, like, he's not had the greatest of years. So you might as well have him put over Umaga. So you don't really, like you said, you don't need to fucking protect Kane. And especially with the year he's had anyway. So the first change is, instead of having Nitro and Hardy open the show, I open the show with this match, okay? Then you have a fresh crowd. It's a loud building because we're in Canada, aren't we? You know, smarky crowd. It didn't get him heated up with the IC title. So put this one out first and have it be a fucking barn burner of a fucking monster v monster match. You know what I'm saying? Give them 15 minutes. Don't give them 7 minutes. Take time away from the 15. IC title, please. Yes. Attach the loser leaves Raw stipulation to this match rather than throwing it away. Now we have genuine stakes in our opening match, and it's a reason to care more than like Armando coming out and saying Kane thinks he's a monster. He's not a monster. Like, who cares who's the biggest monster? We need some more stakes, you know? So keep the match mostly the same. Like you said, the in-ring stuff is okay. So you can keep the match mostly the same. Just with double the time that, and Kane has a great mind for the business, doesn't he? You know, you can't really dispute that. He's a good worker. So keep the match mostly the same. Hard hitting, really physical, no nonsense bullshit. Kane can end up pushing Umaga to his limit. He has him in trouble more than once, but Umaga just has more in the tank, hits his Samoan spike, gets the 3 count clean in the ring. So Kane leaves Raw, and Umaga cements himself as the new monster on the red brand over the next few weeks. So he's got a pretty big scalp under his bout, sending Kane away to SmackDown. Cyber Sunday then comes around, because I think that's the next pay-per-view. Fans can vote for either a Falls Count Anywhere or a Last Man Standing match between the two, because Kane on SmackDown, he's going a bit mental. He's like, oh no, I'm the biggest monster in WWE. I need one more fucking chance to rid myself of this shit year that I'm having and to redeem myself against Umaga. Then at Cyber Sunday, either a Full Count Anywhere or Last Man Standing. I know they're very similar, but those are the kind of stipulations that WWE have people voting on. Kane doesn't take another pinfall then. He can go down to the 10 count in a fucking brutal match in the Last Man Standing, have him pick Last Man Standing. Can't keep Umaga down for 10. Umaga is taken to his limit again and puts down the monster again, and he's 2-0 and he's established and still undefeated. I like it. I like the addition of Kane sort of realizing that he's had a bad year and trying to kind of rectify it. And then, you know, you have him lose that match at Cyber Sunday, like you said, and then you can have Kane fully just, he snaps on SmackDown then. Yeah. Because I think he went into a feud with MVP on SmackDown at the end of 2006, whereas Umaga went on to face John Cena at New Year's Revolution and the Royal Rumble for the WWE title. So, you know, you're protecting Kane here at Unforgiven, but you're sending him to SmackDown in a couple of weeks anyway, and Umaga's going to be challenging for the world title in 3 months. Yeah, I think that does a lot better. I like putting it first as well with those stakes. Like you said, the IC title match is like, yeah, the title's on the line, but it was pretty heatless. The most we'd seen to that point was Jeff throwing a can of paint on Nitro and Melina. Yeah. So, you know, yeah, that's good. Thank you. Yeah. Do you want to? Do you know the backstory of this match, of why it was set up in the first place? No, I have no idea. I just assume it's like, who's the biggest monster on Raw. The seeds for this match were planted at SummerSlam. Okay. So at SummerSlam, it was the McMahons versus DX in like basically a no DQ match where Vince was basically gloating beforehand that he could call on any member of the roster to be there to help him at any point during this match. So
You get the likes of Finlay and Regal come out to help. The Spirit Squad come out to beat down DX. Vince calls on Umaga to help. He's saying how he's like the biggest, the strongest, the scariest monster in WWE. But there's a segment backstage at SummerSlam earlier on in the night where DX are speaking to someone in their locker room. You don't see who, but it's Triple H and Shawn basically like stirring the pot, being like, "Oh yeah, he said that Umaga was the biggest, the strongest. He said he was the monster in WWE, and that person that we don't see gets pissed. Kane is revealed to be the person that DX were talking to.
Right.
So when Umaga comes out to help the McMahons, Kane makes his way out and he starts like fighting off Umaga.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
And that's where this match came from. Basically, was DX shit stirring, which led to Kane losing his contract with Raw. So, when are they not politicking, those two guys?
I know, right?
But yeah, I liked that fantasy booking. It was simple.
Yep.
But it was effective. This is what, now see, I will say this, Jack, that I like about your fantasy bookings is they're never anything insane or over the top. But that's good. It's simple, it's effective. It's nothing out of the ordinary. It works for what it needs to be.
I try to do the things that just make sense.
Yes, it's humble booking.
Thank you.
And we like that.
Jack's humble booking corner.
Jack's humble booking corner. Yeah. There we go. We've got a name for your segment.
There we
go. Yeah, I did still find this match more entertaining than Nitro versus Hardy, though.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough.
Because I'm not usually one for like Hoss matches as well. Like sometimes I find them too slow, but these two guys they just hit each other hard, and I enjoyed that. We have another backstage segment because obviously we've had two matches. We must have two backstage segments. So Vince and Shane are backstage and they're rewatching the Monday Night Raw footage where Vince pinned Triple H, obviously after a lot of help. Shane says that he and Big Show are going to tear DX apart tonight, and all Vince has to do is come in and make the cover. 1, 2, 3. It's a beautiful night. Vince says, I like that plan. The only problem is, unlike the country of Canada, who rely on their allies to do all of the hard work, Vince says he's going to be in there kicking ass and taking names. And then he will cover for the 1, 2, 3. So that's that. Jerry Lawler gives a shout out to his new favourite band, Day of Fire, for the theme song of Unforgiven called Run.
Lovely.
I looked up Day of Fire just, because I always like to do a little bit of extra work for some extra credit. Their Wikipedia page is pretty blank. They've been on an indefinite hiatus for 16 years.
Oh, wow. That's a long time.
So, yeah. But I liked this theme song, I must say.
Yeah, it was all right.
And I'm glad watching it on Netflix, it wasn't like dubbed over for some like generic shit that they normally do. Like the show started, I heard it, I was like, brilliant. It's good. I don't have to find a bootleg copy or dig up my DVD version of this show. We then get our next match, which is for the World Tag Team Championships. This is your boys, the Spirit Squad, versus the Highlanders, who I was a pretty big mark for the Highlanders when I was a kid. I really like the cut of their jib, And they do get a decent pop here as well. The previous Monday, I think it was, on Raw. It was either the Raw or the Saturday night's main event before this. They got kind of a rub from Roddy Piper going into this match. So they were kind of being not like pushed super hard, but like being made to look at least a threat to the Spirit Squad, who are being represented in this match by Kenny and Mikey. And Eagle Eye viewers will notice that one member of the Spirit Squad, Nikki, is Dolph Ziggler. Whatever happened to that guy?
Mr. Nemeth.
Yeah, Mr. Nemeth. We get the match starting with a collar and elbow tie-up. Woohoo! Rory is starting off the match with Mikey, and he quickly gets a 1 count with a roll-up on Mikey. Rory is like fully in control to begin the match, and he throws Mikey into Robbie's head so that Robbie can like headbutt him. This is kind of like the Highlanders style, which I guess isn't too surprising. They're sort of like Scottish version of the Bushwhackers, I guess. But yeah, Rory tags in his cousin Robbie with a slap in the face. That's their kind of like fun thing that they do. But the Highlanders have some quick tags and headbutts, keeping them on top, as Robbie is like continuously and loudly calling Mikey a son of a bitch from the apron. Did you hear this?
Yeah.
Oh my God, over and over again. Like, okay, dude. We get it.
Yeah.
You don't like him. Kenny Dykstra gets tagged in and is met by a back body drop. The Highlanders double team on Kenny multiple times, and Robbie uses Rory as a battering ram in the corner. Kenny is taking a fucking walloping and finally tags in Mikey, but he fares no better and gets hit with a double drop toe hold and a double axe handle. The Spirit Squad briefly gain the advantage as Kenny tags back in, but he's hit with a drop kick to the outside. Robbie brutally misses a suicide dive. That was a pretty harsh landing on it. And the 3 other members of the Spirit Squad beat the fuck out of him and toss him back into the ring, where he's met with a pretty nice looking lariat by Mikey for a 2 count. Mikey then hangs Robbie across the top rope and begins kicking him in the face. Again, pretty brutal stuff. He tags in Kenny and then hits an assisted standing moonsault, which was pretty cool. Big clothesline from Kenny gets a 2 count. Jim Ross takes the opportunity to tell us that George W. Bush was a former male cheerleader at Yale. So there's a little bit of there's a little factoid for you about George Bush. Yeah. Mikey attempts I guess it's like a poetry in motion on Robbie, but Robbie dodges. As he tries to tag in Rory, Kenny pulls him from the apron and the Spirit Squad maintain control. Kenny and Mikey hit a heart attack. I think it was a heart attack, wasn't it? That was the Hart Dynasty double team, which gets them a 2 count. Kenny does a nice swinging net breaker before missing a seated senton on Robbie as Rory pulls him to safety. We then get a hot tag, baby. Rory takes down Mikey and 2 members of the Spirit Squad who are on the apron before tossing Kenny into them. Scott drop, which is this the Highlanders' finishing move. A Scott drop. Don't know what the pun is meant to be there, but there you go. That gets a 2 count, and Kenny makes the save. Johnny hits Rory with a cheap shot in the corner, which I think JR says it was called the Johnny Go Round.
Okay.
It's basically like a step up enziguri kind of thing. Yeah. But yeah, Mikey then just finishes it off with a face buster for the pin and win in 8:59. Jack.
Yes.
Thoughts?
I thought this was a TV level match at best, and not really a pay-per-view level match. I enjoyed it in parts though. I gave it a 2 out of 5. It didn't really hit for me, and like it's a pay-per-view. Like it was a very
get your shit together, boys.
Honestly, like it feels like the first 3 matches on the show, they were just house show level matches almost.
Yeah, kind of.
Like it was fine. TV level match, pretty heatless. A positive you can take is everyone in the match and in the segment, I guess, tried their best. WWE and Vince famously don't really like tag teams or tag matches for that matter. I think considering the next match up, they probably wanted people to treat this match as a bit of a piss break and to get their popcorn ready.
This was go to the toilet, grab your t-shirts, whatever. Yeah, it was fine. I guess that's kind of the issue with when you're having to book wrestling in terms of a show and working the audience up and down. Things like this are going to happen because there was, like you said, there was parts of this match that were good. I thought Robbie was kind of the MVP here. He was pretty wild in there. I went 2.5 because I was like, you know what, it was decent. If it had been on Raw, you probably would have it would have been a match that after the show you talked about as like, oh, you know, that tag match was pretty good. Like they kind of went at it for this, but on a pay-per-view, and you know, it's 3rd match on the show. You kind of know what's coming next because it's like, right, well, we're 3 matches in. We've still got 2 like big gimmick matches to come. One of them surely is going to be next. Let's go get a drink. Let's get settled down. By the time we get back, this match will probably be finished, which is true because it's now time for DX versus the McMahons and our buddy Big Show.
Yeah, Big Show.
So this feud had kind of been... This has been going on for sort of most of the year. Maybe like 4 or 5 months at this point.
Enough time.
Yeah, but you know what? Let me say this. As a 9-year-old watching this stuff on Raw, I'm
sure
was
you're having a
hooked.
whale of a time.
Oh my god, me and my brother loved DX. The shenanigans that they would get up to, you know, the Vince Loves Cox t-shirt, spray painting his private jet with the DX logo, all those, you know, all that funny goofy stuff. But yeah, business is about to pick up, baby. It's Hell in a Cell time.
Oh yeah.
We get our entrances, and JR runs down the sort of laundry list of injuries that have been sustained.
He does a
throughout the history of Hell in a Cell.
really good job of selling it, doesn't he?
Yes, yeah, it's fantastic. And then they go above that as well, because they say, like, let me give props to Jerry Lawler here. He says, well, that was all in the previous Hell in a Cell. This is a brand new Hell in a Cell. So this is the first time we're seeing this new Hell in a Cell structure, which is, it's basically just, it's a bigger version of the old one, and it looks a bit more kind of put together.
Yes.
I feel like the old Hell in a Cell looked like almost baggy in places,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get
whereas
you.
this is very like constructed. It is huge.
Yeah.
And it's not red, most importantly. But yeah, to kind of list off some of the injuries and misfortunes that have been suffered in Hell in a Cell, we've had injured cameramen. Tim White's referee career ended in Hell in a Cell, apparently. Don't know how, but that happened. We had fractured jaws, broken ribs, bruised kidneys. Yeah, they really like build this up as being like, this is not something that just happens, you know, is to be taken lightly. This a Hell in a Cell match is a last resort.
No, Terry Funk got chokeslammed out of his shoes, for fuck's sake. It's insane.
That's true. Yes, and that only happened because it was in Hell in a Cell.
Yeah.
If the shoes would have stayed on otherwise. But yeah, this is very much like this is the nuclear option, basically, is what Hell in a Cell is, which is, you know, something that I think we've forgotten, which is such a shame, because these matches used to be like, oh my god, it's a Hell in a Cell.
Now
shit's
it's like,
real.
oh, that time of year again.
Yeah. Oh, look at the calendar. It's October. I guess I really hate you. The cage, or the cell is lowering down, and Vince is like baying for blood.
Yeah.
He's like, come on, come on. And Big Show has to like calm him down, and like he puts a hand in front of Vince and is like, all right, big fella.
Vince was fucking born to be such a carny fucking wrestling showman.
It's
like, it suits him so much.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Like he plays this role perfectly, you know, to give the devil his due.
Yeah.
But Big Show is like, don't worry, settle down, old man. I'm gonna take control here.
Yeah.
So Big Show starts like aura farm walking towards DX, who both kind of just like look at each other and are like, yeah, no, let's do it. And they take Big Show out with a tandem low blow immediately, which just completely throws the McMahons' plans out the window. And they go straight after Shane and Vince. Shane is being focused on by Shawn, and Vince is being targeted by Triple H. They toss the McMahons to the outside, and Big Show starts like slowly getting to his feet in the corner, and they hit him with another low blow to just be like, no, you stay there for a minute. You take a rest, because you have got no gas in the tank. We need you for some spots. You're not going to last. Michaels slingshots Shane into the steel using the ropes, and Triple H is just beating the fuck out of his father-in-law. Shane, while they cut the camera to Vince, Shane definitely takes this opportunity to do a little blading, because the camera cuts back and he is like busted open already. And Vince gets tossed into the steel then by Triple H, while Shawn cheese grates Shane's face into the chain link. Triple H does the same to Vince, and now Vince is bleeding.
Of course.
DX are firmly on top in the early going. I don't think the McMahons get like a second of offense in here. Triple H grabs the screwdriver and very safely drives it into the forehead of Vince. Both hands covering the end of the screwdriver. I think the tip of that screwdriver is about 4 inches away from Vince's forehead. Very obviously. But, you know, we go back in the ring, and Triple H hits Vince with a nice scoop slam. But Big Show, he's back to his feet, baby. And he throws, there's me being Irish. He throws Triple H to the outside. HBK attempts a springboard onto Show, but he's caught by the Big Show. But before Michaels can be thrown into the steel, Triple H rescues his partner and they toss Big Show into the ring steps, which takes Big Show out for another 30 seconds or so, which allows them to refocus on the McMahons back in the ring. Triple H hits a knee drop on the canvas next to Vince, which is shown by the cameras, which is pretty poor. And Shawn continues punching Shane in the corner. Big Show does eventually get back up to his feet, and he takes out Triple H with some headbutts and allows Shane to get up and clothesline Shawn Michaels out of the ring. Triple H is now alone in the ring, and Vince begins directing traffic as Big Show chokeslams Triple H, and then he turns his attention to Shawn Michaels, sending him face first into the cell, which JR refers to as being lawn darted, which I suppose is pretty accurate, actually, yeah. Triple H is in the ring and he's like swinging wildly at Vince and Shane. He's like completely disoriented, discombobulated, if you will. And the McMahons are just, they're having a whale of a time now. They're laughing. They're giggling. It's like a nice day out for them. But Big Show is still outside the ring with HBK. And he goes, "Watch this!" and throws HBK into the cell again. And now Shawn Michaels is bleeding. So Big Show is like, all right, enough of that. I'm done. And he rejoins the McMahons in the ring and helps Shane to set up a trash can on a prone Triple H in the corner. And the crowd at this point is like, oh, well, we know what's coming. Mm-hmm. Shane's getting up to the top rope. And he hits a coast to coast after he's directed and told by his father to do it. Yep. He's like, "Look at me, Dad. Please, Dad, approve of me. I love you, Dad." Triple H starts bleeding from his ear, and Big Show is laughing aggressively in the face of Triple H. But Big Show throws HBK back into the ring now, and Vince begins teeing off on him while Shane and Show are holding him up by each arm. Shane sets up on the steel steps outside the ring, slingshotting Triple H into the steel. So Triple H has come out of the ring, Shane has got the steel steps, and he does the classic contrived slingshot spot. And Vince has never looked happier. He's just blood streaming down his face. He's having a fantabby-dozy day. Big Show hits a Vader bomb on Michaels back in the ring, and Vince goes for the cover, but at the 2 count, he lifts Shawn's head up off the canvas. Big Show picks Shawn up. He hits the Cobra Clutch backbreaker, followed by one of those wicked leg drops that he does. Mm-hmm. And Vince again covers Shawn and again picks him up at 2. Triple H is now back in the ring and he sends Show to the outside, setting up Vince for a pedigree. But Shane intervenes and he attempts an angle slam at Triple H, but he never really gets I think he never kind of gets the weight under control fully. Triple H is always kind of leaning back and they're trying it for a few seconds, and Triple H reverses it into a neck breaker anyway. Everyone is now down, but Shawn Michaels gets back up and hits Shane with a wicked looking enziguri. But Vince takes out HBK with a very tired looking clothesline. Big Show is now back in the ring, and Vince begins unzipping his jeans and baring that big old booty of his. He's ready to induct Shawn Michaels into the Kiss My Ass Club. I mean, his former tag partner Marty Jannetty is already a member of this club. Why not get the whole of the Rockers in there? But Triple H says no, sir, and he takes down Vince. But Big Show makes sure the DX don't get any more momentum. Vince then sets up Shawn to be splashed by Show, but HBK he kind of does like the kip up, which pulls Vince forward onto the canvas, and Big Show splashes Vince instead. DX double team on Show and they crotch him on the ring post, so that's now 3 separate nut shots on the Big Show. Poor guy. But Shane is to his feet now, and DX double team him with some right hands, followed by an inverted atomic drop and an armed Anderson spine buster. Triple H wraps a steel chair around the neck of Shane McMahon, which is followed by a top rope elbow drop from Shawn Michaels. Blood starts pouring from the mouth of Shane, and Shawn Michaels starts tuning up the band, but Big Show is back to his feet and pulls Michaels out of the ring. The Giant then takes the steel steps into the ring, lowering his straps and giving out a war cry. He's like holding the steps sort of above his head, like he's blinded himself basically, and he's running towards Triple H with them. but Trips hits Big Show with a steel chair to the stomach before a second one for good measure. And Show eventually gets back to his feet, and Michaels meets him with a super kick. Big Show falls kind of over the top rope, you know, in a suggestive way. And Vince gets back to his feet, and he's like staring at DX with animosity. He's like furious at them. He's ready to go. Triple H is still holding the steps because he was about to hit Vince with them, but he throws them out of the ring instead. And DX just kind of stare blankly at Vince, and they pull down Big Show's tights to reveal, according to JR, the biggest crack I ever saw. And it is. It's pretty big. Yeah, it's a pretty big ass crack. Vince is on his knees. He's begging. He's pleading. He's saying, no, please, not this. Anything but this. DX tell him to suck it, and he does begin sucking it. The billionaire's face and Big Show's booty hole become one. Vince is kind of... I think Vince is legitimately disgusted by this.
Yes.
Like the look on his face. And why wouldn't you be?
No.
Like, Big Show's a big guy.
Yeah.
He's been in that ring for like 20 minutes now. He's got some swamp ass going on for sure. Course. Triple H pulls his beloved sledgehammer out from under the ring. HBK hits Vince with a sweet chin music. Vince then like crawls on his knees to set up the final spot for Triple H to break the sledgehammer over Vince's back, which looks brutal. Yeah. And Triple H covers his father-in-law for the pin and win in 25 minutes and 5 seconds. Jack, thoughts and prayers?
Yeah, I gave it a 3.75 out of 5. I thought it was quite fun. Probably ran a little bit long, but it's a Vince McMahon match where he's inserted himself in, and it's a Triple H match, so it's gonna run a bit long. I liked it. For like a PG era show, I really liked the hokey bleeding. Like there was so much blading, and like Shane obviously bit down on a blood packet.
Blood capsule. Yeah.
And it's just fun. It's fun the lengths they go to for that. Like all the weapons. I like a decent Hell in a Cell match where they use weapons and stuff. The whole Kiss My Ass Club. I mean, you would have been 9 when it all came out, so you probably like loved all this shit at 9 years old.
Oh yeah.
And I honestly can't even remember how I felt at the time when I was like 10 or 11 or whatever, but I can tell you how I feel now, and it's a little bit cheesy. But I get it. Like you should look at it as a sort of microcosm of where it was at that period of time as well. So yeah, 3.75 I think is it's above average. I like the new cell design / structure as well. Yeah, no, and bonus points, like the MVP of this match is Shane McMahon for his selling, especially after when they get stretched out. God, yeah. He looks like he's fucking like he's got that 1,000-yard stare. It looks vacant. Fully. Really good selling from that. So yeah.
I think one of the things that I wanted to kind of make note of is how after the match, even DX being the winners looked like they had been through a war. And I think that's something that needs to be at sort of the forefront of these kind of matches, is even if you win, like, it's not really a victory. It's you've survived. And, you know, if you're going to be showing up on the Monday night afterwards, you need to be like not in good shape.
Yes.
You should, you know, if you have a match on that Raw, you should not be winning that match, because you should be so beaten up and bloodied and bruised from the night before that you've basically been through war 24 hours previously. I went 4.25 for this.
Nice.
I had a hell of a time.
Yeah.
We had some ridiculous spots. We had Big Show's ass, and we had lots of blood. And like you say, Shane McMahon's selling, like especially at the end, when they put the neck brace on him, and he looks like he's not there, kind of thing. But as DX start making their way up to the top of the ramp, Jerry Lawler asks if there's anything worse you can do to a billionaire owner of a company. And I think in 2026, that's an interesting thing to think about. Because a few things certainly came to mind when he said if there's anything worse that you can do. But anyway, moving on, we next have Trish Stratus's real legitimate retirement match for the Women's Championship against Lita. They show a video package beforehand, kind of with the highlights, you know, that of Trish's career. and that, you know, her and Lita have always sort of been at each other. And the kind of feud going into this particular match is that Lita leaked the news to WWE.com that Trish is going to be retiring after Unforgiven. And Trish takes umbrage with that because she wanted to make the announcement on her own time. And so she challenges Lita to a match to be like, right, well, one more time then, let's go, me and you. Which I liked. I think it was simple but effective. It's like, well, hey, you took this big moment away from me that I wanted to have with my fans and, you know, my family and whatever, and you just wanted a scoop for the website. So fuck you. I'm going to take your title from you. So
Yeah.
that's where we are now. Big pop for Trish once her music hits. Obviously, we're in Toronto, which is Trish's hometown. And big thank you, Trish chants to start off the match, followed by a collar and elbow tie-up.
Yeah.
But it is kind of a collar and elbow tie-up with like some sauce on it,
Yes.
you know? It's like these are two ladies they're wrestling for a championship, but they hate each other. Because Lita quickly ups the animosity with some shoves and a slap to Trish's face. But Trish eventually gets the upper hand with a bulldog and a nice standing head scissors, followed by a leaping Thez press from the apron, and then another standing head scissors from the top of the steel steps to the floor. Obviously, the mats and the ring canvas has all been changed since the previous match, so the mat on the outside is like wet as well, because I guess it's been mopped, which I think probably just adds to it, makes the sound a bit louder.
Yes.
Too. But yeah, it was pretty brutal looking. Lita causes some separation from Trish. She clings to the bottom rope as Trish is kind of trying to pull her back in, and Trish backs up. She's the babyface. She's not, you know, she ain't playing no dirty tricks. But Lita takes control and she slams Trish's face into the mat before choking Trish out on the middle rope and applying a little bit of a rest hold. Trish fights out momentarily before Lita pulls her to the mat by the hair. Again, another pretty brutal looking spot this. Lita now has Trish in the corner with some stomps, but Trish manages to reverse with some stomps of her own before some chops and a stinger splash, baby. Trish goes for another standing head scissors, this time from the top rope, but Lita blocks it and both women trade blows on the top turnbuckle, and I think they lose their balance here and they crash to the floor below, which again looks sore as well, and they both then kind of awkwardly climb back to the top rope, but Lita flings Trish to the mat by her hair again. Lita sets up a moonsault, beautiful looking moonsault, but Trish does roll out of the way and she gets a 2 count on the injured and prone Lita. Trish goes for a stratisfaction, but Lita throws her over the top rope into the barricade. Lita is now on top again and starts landing blows on her challenger. She hits a really nice snap suplex for a 2. And then we get some classic heel champ trash talking, which only serves to fire up the challenger. But Lita thwarts her momentum with a side Russian leg sweep and some more mounted blows. We get another brief rest hold to slow the pace down. And Trish fights out and hits Lita with a neck breaker. Both women start exchanging blows in the middle of the ring, and Trish hits a head scissors on Lita after an Irish whip, which was a very nice head scissors. We get a chick kick, a near fall. Lita rakes Trish's eyes and goes for a twist of fate, but Trish reverses into a stratisfaction attempt, but Lita escapes and turns it into a roll-up. Trish escapes the roll-up and locks in a sharpshooter, and the crowd goes nuts for this sharpshooter. They go insane for it. As soon as she does like the first step through on Lita's leg, they're like, oh, we know where this is going. That's the Canadian move, which JR also refers to as being Canadian as well. Lita starts crawling towards the bottom rope, but Trish pulls her away and Lita taps and Trish retires. She does retire, doesn't she? A winner in 11 minutes and 35 seconds. Jack, what did you think of this one?
I gave it a 3.25 out of 5. I thought it was a smart finish and a nice homage to Bret Hart with the sharpshooter. Both women, really nice counter wrestling. They know each other so well. You know, like you said, they're almost like the Batman and Joker of the women's division in the early 2000s, destined to do it sort of thing. So, yeah, and it's really nice to see Trish win the title again for a then record 7th time in her retirement match. Yeah, no, it was nice. And yeah, I mean, Lita will always be the better heel and Trish will always be the better face. So they had that sort of alignment down as well. So yeah, no, really good, really good. I liked it a lot. She obviously didn't fully retire after this, though. She returned in 2008, 2009, 2011, inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2013, surprise entrant in the inaugural Women's Royal Rumble in 2018, faced Alexa Bliss at Evolution in 2018, faced Charlotte at SummerSlam 2019, then in 2023 returned to a sort of full-time schedule, participated in a 6-woman tag at Mania 39, turned heel on Becky Lynch after Mania, got drafted to Raw, faced Becky in Saudi, recruited Zoe Stark as a lackey, participated in a Money in the Bank match, got dropped from SummerSlam in that famous thing where Becky and Trish wanted to do SummerSlam and Triple H was like, well, you know, deal with it. Had a steel cage match with Becky at the Payback, and then Zoe Stark turned on her. And then most recently in 2025, she entered the Women's Royal Rumble and then faced Tiffany Stratton at the Evolution. So good. That's a nice retirement, Trish.
Yeah, a bit of a Terry Funk retirement.
Yeah. But
Trish.
I mean, honestly, like I know I listed off all that, and she was meant to retire in 2006. All of the work she did post 2006 was great. So you know, we don't have anything to complain about. It's just it's funny when a wrestler retires, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. Like I remember just when you mentioned that cage match against Becky, I remember people were talking about that for a while afterwards. It was really good, and it showed that like yes, she had, you know, quote unquote retired. And I think that women's wrestling had certainly moved up many gears since she was kind of at the top, but she was still like, she still held her own. She still had great matches. Yeah. Fair play to her. And this match as well, I remember like it was better than I remembered it being. And Trish was better than I remember her being. So I think that kind of played into my rating. In the end, I gave this 4.
Nice, yeah.
I just really liked the way that it didn't really slow down. Like, yes, I mentioned that there was kind of a rest hold in there, but it wasn't really for long.
No.
And, you know,
I really liked that finish. That finish was really good.
Yeah, it was. And it wasn't the sharpest match, but I think that in a way helped it. That it kind of showed that, like, these two hate each other. They don't care about, like, a clean-looking fight. They just want to destroy each other. But it's funny. I was looking at like I googled Trish Stratus after this, which babe, I can explain why I was googling Trish Stratus just to kind of check, like, see how old she was when this happened. She was 30 at the time, retiring, which I'm going to be 30 this year. And it's crazy, like the way that they were speaking about her with such like reverence after a 7-year run.
Yeah,
like
right.
Back then, I guess that was a decent amount of time. But if you think about 7 years ago from now is 2019, when like that Becky Lynch won the Royal Rumble in 2019. And yes, she's kind of more part-time now, but like she's still going, and she had 5 years under her belt at that point as well. So I guess it was a different time for women's wrestlers. It was like, yeah, you're 30, you know, you're not really.
She went off to start a family though, didn't she, for a few of those years? So yeah.
She's got kids now. She obviously did the I think, didn't she do like some yoga stuff? She became like a fitness instructor as well. But yeah, she's, like you said, she's come back a few times since then, and she's looked great in every one of those returns. Like she's obviously someone who, you know, maybe at first when she was introduced to the business wasn't necessarily a wrestling mind or what have you. She was more kind of like a model and eye candy and whatever. But you can tell that it's something like she cares deeply about it. Like she, you know, she's set up a life for herself on the basis of it. So, you know, she takes it seriously. This is her craft, and she's dedicated to it. So fair play to her. Big up Trish Stratus.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really fun match. 4 stars. And I don't care what anyone has to say about that. We have another backstage segment. We haven't actually had one in a while.
Yeah, no, we've had a couple of matches in a row. Well,
I know. Well, that's mostly because they've had video packages before them. So, but Todd Grisham is backstage with Randy Orton. He congratulates Trish on her win rather sarcastically, and he says, "But no one really cares about your retirement, unless, of course, you're Canadian, in which case you don't really have much of a life." Orton then makes reference to the fact that in this very building in 2004, he won the World Championship from Redacted.
Yes.
To become the youngest world heavyweight champion in history. He then, out of the blue, calls Trish Stratus a bitch and says that tonight he's going to make Carlito his bitch. So Carlito and Trish had kind of this like on-screen romance kind of thing going on prior to this. You know, Randy's trying to like have a dig at
that was
at
his
Carlito,
best
being
attempt
like,
at a segue.
yeah, exactly. Just like, your girlfriend's a bitch and you're going to be my bitch. And everyone's like, oh, boo, fuck you.
Yeah.
Randy comes out to his better entrance theme, though.
Yes.
Burning My Light. So good. So much better than... I know that everyone loves to sing along to voices and whatever. And yes, I can't argue that if I was in a crowd and heard it, I wouldn't be singing along too. But this was a better theme song.
I agree. Hard agree.
Yeah. Carlito was as well. He was one of my guys growing up. I was a big Carlito fan. When he turned heel on Ric Flair, I was really upset because I was like, great, well, now I can't like Carlito anymore because he's a bad person. But there's a little Carlito fan club at ringside. Some guys in Carlito wigs with some signs. Very cool. Collar and elbow tie-up to begin this match. Again,
let's see if we get that for the main event.
Yeah, there's a bit of sauce on this one, and it's kind of reminiscent of like two stags locking horns.
Yes.
You know, neither one of them can gain the upper hand. But Carlito spits in Orton's face, which was wild, and follows it up with a double leg takedown and tries to get some mounting strikes on Orton, but Orton rolls out of the ring. And upon re-entering, Carlito attempts a springboard moonsault, which Orton dodges, but Carlito follows it up with a nice drop kick. Carlito takes a moment to mock Orton's signature pose, which gives Orton time to recover and gives Carlito a thumb to the eye. Carlito gets back on top, however, with a scoop slam on Orton and two springboard moonsaults, one of which bursts Orton open. I think it's his elbow hits Orton's lip and splits him open. And you can kind of see from then on that Orton gets a bit angry. So I guess he's like pissed that he's been hard way busted open, which fair enough. But he gets a bit like, I don't know if this is you know, me working myself into a shoot, but he certainly seems a bit more angry going forward. And Orton sends Carlito over the top rope. He hangs him up on the top rope, so neck to the top rope, and he hits a really nice drop kick to Carlito, who falls to the outside. Orton rolls Carlito back in for successive 2 counts and begins stomping on every one of Carlito's exposed body parts, followed by a dropped knee. Then we get some classic Randy with a rest hold. Carlito fights out, but Orton hits him with a nice power slam for a 2, which Carlito kicks out, obviously, he kicks out as a 2, and back to the rest hold. Again, Carlito fights out and hits Orton with a running knee lift, followed by a clothesline for another 2. We get another near fall for Carlito after this, and Orton is back up to hit his inverted backbreaker. Orton tees Carlito up for an RKO, but Carlito hits Orton with the back cracker, which then became known as the back stabber after he turned heel on Ric Flair, by the way. Carlito goes up top and goes for a springboard flying nothing, but gets met with an RKO in mid-air for Orton to hit the pin and win in 8:41.
Yeah, in 41 seconds.
Yeah, in 41 seconds. They did a lot in those 41 seconds. 8 minutes and 41 seconds. Jack, thoughts?
Yeah, pretty average match. I gave it a 2.5 out of 5. It's sort of an exhibition of an upper mid card. You need it for a bit of a breather. You've had 2 reasonably intense matches with the Hell in a Cell and then the Trish retirement title match. Yeah. So a cool down match, but with 2 guys that I guess you would consider stars, or at least one of them is a star, and showcasing your upper mid card. Yeah, no, I thought it was good. Both guys are pretty competent in the ring. They have, you know, half decent chemistry together. The only thing isn't Carlito at this point in time a face?
He is, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he works well. Like, putting on my Smarky hat, I don't think he works well as a baby face. Just technically, I guess. So yeah, but the saving grace of this whole match was the really cool RKO for the finish, wasn't it? So
yeah, I think it's kind of it's one of those underrated sort of RKOs out of nowhere. Like, I think everyone everyone's mind always goes to the Evan Bourne one on Raw or Seth Rollins at Mania.
Yes.
But I think this is one of the kind of first times that we see, like, oh my God, he fully hit that out of nowhere kind of RKOs, because the crowd pops big for it. I went 3.25 for this one. I thought it started off quickly. I liked the kind of animosity between both guys. It did slow down a little bit in the middle, but then it ended with that big kind of exclamation point of the RKO. I'm interested that you say about Carlito not really working as a face.
Yeah.
Because I disagree, honestly. I think maybe his personality, like, I know backstage he had some heat and some issues with people, but I think he could have been not necessarily to the level and like a world champion type babyface, but like an Eddie, where, you know, he's a bit smarmy, he gets away with things.
I get
like
you.
He'll use dirty tactics, but it's like, you know, he's our shithead, you know?
Yeah.
A bit like MJF babyface, but not quite as severe.
Yes.
But yeah, I guess horses for courses, or whatever the saying is. But yeah, I thought it was a decent match. Like you said, kind of a cooler match to get everyone rested for what's about to come. But still, you know, two guys that people like, not necessarily like, you know, are fans of, but like can respect their work rate.
Yes.
And you know, we love work rate.
We do.
It's all about work rate. We then get our main event, which is the TLC match between John Cena and the Rated R superstar Edge.
Yeah.
Edge is out first, funnily enough, and he gets a loud hometown pop from his fellow Torontoans. And Cena is once again walking into the Lion's Den this year. There's kind of small pockets of Cena fans that the cameras pick up, but they're very much drowned out by the Edge heads.
Yeah.
Lillian Garcia does a nice job, I think, with the introductions in this match. She just adds like a little bit extra, where she announces Cena as a former 2-time WWE champion, and I think that kind of bigs things up a little bit. But it's so weird to hear Cena as a former 2-time WWE champion. Like this, I know it's 20 years ago, but I think he's now a 17-time world champion.
Never seen 17.
Never seen 17. I did kind of like that tagline. I will say that. But Edge is visibly like holding back tears. You can see he's like slapping himself in the face to like get into gear as the crowd is like cheering for him, and he's like, holy shit, I am, like, I think this is the moment where it kind of dawns on him, even though he's about to lose the title, spoilers, you know, that he is WWE champion. And this feud, like, for, you know, has been pretty much going on the entirety of 2006. Has been a good feud, because it's been one of those where it's not just the two guys constantly wrestling each other on 2 Raws and then every pay-per-view every month. Like, they've kind of gone their separate ways and then come back together as well, a bit similar to sort of like Hangman Swerve, where they've done their own things for a bit, but they eventually will meet. Obviously their previous match was at SummerSlam, the stipulation being that if Edge was to be disqualified, he would lose the title. He slyly used some brass knuckles on Cena to retain. And then the following Raw, he dumped Cena's title in the Long Island Sound, or what Lita did for him, and introduced a new version of the spinner title, which had the Rated R logo on the middle, which I really liked it.
It's cool.
I was a big fan. I am a big fan in general of the spinner, and I don't care.
We've discussed that.
Yes, I think it's really nice looking. I like the jewels. It sparkles. I don't care what you have to say.
That's fine,
Jack, about this one.
People.
You fucks. There's a home invasion angle where Edge smacks John Cena's dad in the face, which was, you know, Pog. Sorry, I'm using streamer words. This is Poggers.
Does that mean good?
Yeah, like, you know, play of the game, Pog.
Oh, is that what that means?
Keep up, Grandpa.
I'm so
Jesus. But anyway, the title belt gets hoisted into the air.
Yeah.
And what do we start this match with? But a collar and elbow tie-up, baby. Cena gets the upper hand, though, and the crowd do not like it one bit, as the challenger is hitting their boy with multiple running shoulder blocks. But eventually, a slap in the face by Edge gets the crowd on side. Cena does try to regain control, but Edge hits a nice swinging neck breaker before rolling out of the ring and picking up a chair. An attempted headshot with the chair misses, and Cena gets Edge back in the ring and hits a nice fisherman suplex. Edge reverses an attempted move from Cena and hits an impaler DDT and sets up 2 steel chairs in the ring. So kind of both chairs facing each other, as if we were, as if you're talking to a youth pastor.
A cool
He attempts to
youth pastor.
suplex, one of the cool ones. He attempts to suplex on Cena, but Cena reverses. Edge then reverses Cena's suplex and drops him through the chairs. Edge brings our first ladder into the fold and he begins climbing it. Cena pushes it over though, but Edge lands on his feet and hits the number 1 contender with a clothesline. As Cena is prone on the middle rope, Edge sets up a ladder against his face and he hits it with a drop kick from the barricade, which JR refers to as a Home Depot drop kick, which I liked. Edge attempts to use the ladder as a battering ram on Cena in the corner, but Cena averts it and drops Edge onto the ladder himself with a hip toss. There's 2 tables on the outside of the ring, which Edge almost gets FU'd through, but he holds on and he puts his opponent down with a hard right hand. Edge gets crotched on the top rope and Cena brings a table into the ring. Edge is still recovering from the crotching on the top turnbuckle and Cena attempts a superplex, but Edge fights back and hits a very weak sunset flip powerbomb, and the crowd boos the botch. But they soon make up for it though, with a power slam from Edge to Cena through the table. Cena is on the outside now and Edge runs up a ladder that's leaning on the turnbuckles to jump over the top and land on the challenger. This was a hairy spot because that ladder started slipping when Edge was about halfway up it. So that could have gone hella wrong. But Edge then brings 2 new chairs into the ring and he smacks Cena hard in the back with one of them. The champion has Cena set up for the concerto, but Cena escapes. He kind of pulls Edge, I think, from the leg and makes him slip. And he hits a modified blockbuster on Edge onto the chair. Cena then has one of the ladders and he opens it up as it's sort of lying down. And he puts Edge in the kind of panini press of the ladder and he closes it on Edge's back before locking in a ladder-assisted STFU, which looked really cool.
Yeah.
And really brutal. That's got to hurt your back big time.
Oh, 100%.
Edge taps out. He can't take any more of it, but it don't mean shit in a TLC match. Cena is frustrated and he kicks a chair out of the ring, which the momentum of the chair makes it fly directly into Hugo Savinovich and Carlos Cabrera at the Spanish announce table. And the crowd is like, oh, fuck, because I think it dings one of them in the head. Cena FUs the ladder onto Edge, and Cena has said ladder set up in the corner, and he hits Edge with the 5-knuckle shuffle from the top of the ladder. Cena goes under the ring to pull out another table, which, I don't know, was this because, were these specially gimmicked tables or something? Because there's... But you know what I mean? There was tables outside the ring.
Yeah.
So he goes under the ring and pulls out another one. But Edge grabs a chair and cracks Cena over the head with it, which was gnarly. I still forget that headshots were allowed back then.
Yeah.
It feels too modern for headshots to be allowed at this point. But we get one. Edge then hoists a prone Cena onto a table in the ring and grabs another one from under the ring. Again, what are we doing here, folks? There's 2 tables right there. But he places this one on top of Cena. So Edge climbs to the top rope, but Cena comes to and he meets him there, knocking the champ into the ringside barrier. Cena pulls out a extremely tall ladder from under the ring. Mm-hmm. I think they're Lawler and King are discussing the potential height of this ladder, and they say this one looks like it could be a 16-footer. Which I don't know if you know how tall 16 feet is, folks, but it's pretty fucking tall.
Yeah.
But Cena gets in the ring and he begins gingerly setting it up. All the while, Edge sneaks back onto the ladder that has been in the corner for a while and spears Cena off of his ladder. And we get to hear Cena's smoker's cough as well as he's recovering. It's bad. It sounds gross. But Edge begins climbing big ladder and Cena gets to his feet. But Edge attempts a crossbody caught by Cena who power bombs him into normal sized ladder, which then gets removed from the ring by a referee. So they're like, yeah, no, we're finished with the spots for this one. Let's start wrapping it up, boys. Edge is on the outside now, and Cena cracks him with a chair to the skull.
Not as good as the previous one.
No, it wasn't. But, you know, we'll take what we can get. Cena's got a clear path to the championship now. But hold on a second. Who's that? It's Lita. She tips over Big Ladder, and Cena flies through a table on the outside. By the way, these are not the tables that have been ignored by them. These are two other tables that are on the outside. Yeah. So it's not that they were saving them to set up that spot. They were just... I don't know. I don't get it. It annoyed me. But Lita now is like, you know, ushering Edge into the ring. Edge has, for some reason, lost the use of his legs and is crawling across the ring, gets his hand on the ladder and starts pulling himself up. But it takes him, like, so long to do this that Cena is now back in the ring. But Lita cracks him in the back with a steel chair, which makes Cena fall forward. And this momentum sends Cena into Big Ladder, and Edge tumbles out of the ring through another different table. Lita gets removed from the match by an FU from Cena, so goodbye to Lita. Thanks for coming. You get double pay for showing up in 2 segments. I'm sure that's how it works. Cena is now caught between two minds, whether to go for the title or go after Edge. He decides to go for the title, however, and begins climbing the ladder, but Edge is back, and he meets him at the top of the ladder. The two men are exchanging blows 16 feet in the air, but Cena FUs Edge through the two stacked tables below and pulls down the title in 25 minutes, 28 seconds to become a 3-time WWE champion. Jack, thoughts on this one, please?
I gave it a 4.25 out of 5. I thought it was a great match. Probably the best Edge Cena match ever? Question mark? I don't know. The final spot was pretty fucking cool. The last few minutes where people were just each of them were just flying off the ladder and into tables. It was really fucking cool. Yeah, awesome final spot. I feel like this was a little bit of a turning point in the, like, I guess the internet wrestling community and the smart wrestling fans that were starting to give props to Cena. Not a lot by any means, not like 2015 levels of where he was carrying the US title, but this was probably the first little smidgen where people were like, oh, Cena can do some cool stuff. You know, he's not just like a protected babyface. He'll go into the nitty gritty and do what needs to be done. So yeah, Cena needs to get some credit for this, but I think Edge probably did a lot of the heavy lifting with his experience in these kinds of matches, and that's fair enough. Yeah, great. 4.25 out of 5. Thought he was great.
Yeah. Also, I completely have left out like a chunk of the backstory for this match. Edge obviously is like sick of Cena at this point, and he wants Cena like out of his life completely. He's beaten him at SummerSlam. He's done with him. The Raw where Jeff Hardy returns and has a match in the main event. I think it's in the main event with Edge. Cena interferes, starts beating the hell out of Edge, throws Edge into the Long Island Sound. Edge gets rescued by like the Coast Patrol later on, and is you know, now he's like, I need John Cena gone. Like, that's a step too far. And Cena's like, okay, fine. Here I have a 3-year contract for SmackDown from Teddy Long's desk. I've got no problem signing this contract to get out of your life, but all I need is one more chance at the championship. If I lose, I'm gone. I signed to SmackDown. Happy days. But if I win, I'm WWE champion. You know.
He allowed Edge to pick the stipulation as well, didn't he?
Yes. Edge agrees. He says, grand, no problem. But I pick where the match happens. I pick the stipulation. So Edge obviously picks Toronto, his hometown, and he picks TLC match, a match that Cena has never had, a match that Edge claims he has never lost. However, there was a TLC match on SmackDown that I think was a tag team TLC match that Edge lost a few years before this. He's a liar, basically. So yeah, during the night we do get like a few shots of Teddy Long in a skybox. He looks like he's having a great time here.
Yeah, man, just chilling with a beer up in the skybox.
Yeah, he's like
watching
boogieing
a show.
into Trish's music. Like, yeah, he's chilling. I went 4 stars for this match.
Yeah.
Like I said, the last few minutes were fast paced. People going through tables, people getting hit with things. I think there was a few sloppy points in it.
Yes. There was a couple of spots they tried to do that didn't really quite get pulled off, and they managed to cover it up reasonably well. But
yeah, they did. But there seemed to be like a few minutes of, or not a few minutes, but like a few instances kind of where they'd be like, okay, what's the next spot? What am I doing? Oh yes, this. But like you said, I think Cena deserves big props. I think 2006 for Cena was a big year. Obviously, it was a big year in terms of he wins the World Championship twice this year, and he's kind of perpetually sort of in the main event. But I think you have like a few big sort of testing grounds for Cena this year. You have the main event of Mania 22 with Triple H, where, you know, you're at Mania, it's a big smarky crowd who are pretty heavily behind Triple H during this match. You then get One Night Stand in Hammerstein Ballroom. Obviously, we've spoken about that show and the kind of ferocity of the crowd there. And then you have this match, you know, in Edge's hometown. And I think part of, you know, and I might be reading into this too much, but I think Vince did a lot of like, let's see how he can handle this during 2006 to, like, you know, how can he deal with a hostile crowd? How can he deal with kind of different stipulations, and, you know, can he get through a match? And I think, to his credit, you know, as sick of Cena as people were in 2006, I think he handled himself very well in this kind of calendar year. And I think a lot of this led to him becoming the kind of the legend that we know him as now. I think if he'd have kind of wilted away during these 3 big shows, I don't think we would have seen him get to quite the level.
Well, no, I mean,
did.
this reign that he just started from this show, I think it was one of his longest reigns. It was just over a year that they put the bout on him for after this. So it makes sense what you're saying. They were like, right, we'll test you at Mania, we'll test you at One Night Stand, we'll test you at SummerSlam even, and put you in a program with Edge and whatnot. And then obviously he passed all those tests with flying colours, gets the title now at Unforgiven, and they put it on him for a year.
He loses it at Unforgiven 2007.
There you go.
Through injury.
Yes.
That's when he gets his shoulder capitulates, basically, and he's out for what we think is going to be 7 or 8 months, and he ends up coming back within
at the
4
Rumble.
For the Rumble, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Overall, I thought the show was... I think the good was very, very good on this show. I think the bad was not terrible, but just maybe a bit boring, a bit slow. So my overall show rating for this show was a 3.75.
Okay. I gave it a 3.25.
Fuck you.
I think, but it's a show that it's of its era, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
It's definitely fun in places. Like you said, the good is really good, but it's kind of weird in other places as well. And especially the first 3 matches of the show, it feels like it's just a bit of an elevated Raw.
Yeah.
All 3 of those first matches could have just been on Raw, and it was just a bit of a disappointment to come in, and it's like, okay, the first 3 matches aren't really grabbing your attention or getting you G'd up for these main events and these bigger matches. I think they dropped the ball a little bit there, but the 2 big stipulation matches were really good and really fun, and overall above average for me, for sure.
Yeah, I think the second half of the show definitely carries it. I think had you not had one of either Cena Edge or the Hell in a Cell match, I think this show would have suffered a bit more.
Yes,
but it's a B pay-per-view, and I think for a B pay-per-view it went pretty above and beyond. It was definitely better than SummerSlam the previous month, which I also had on DVD and also watched quite a few times. Not as often as Unforgiven, though, because it didn't have Hell in a Cell or TLC.
Exactly.
Jack, would you like to hear my best dressed and worst dressed of the evening?
Please share.
Now, I had a tricky time with this show because No one really stood out to me for incredibly, like... I think nowadays it's easier because I think people go more kind of campy, and pay-per-views are like the Met Gala now. You know, you're looking out for like, oh, what's your ring gear going to be?
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes it works for people and sometimes it very much doesn't. So my best dressed for this show is not someone who wrestled a match. My best dressed for this show was Melina.
Okay, fine, yeah.
And not for the same reasons that Jerry Lawler would have given.
God, no.
She's got the booby top.
Yeah.
Fair play. If you've got it, flaunt it. She's got the mini skirt. She's got the heeled boots. It's serving pure pussy.
Yeah.
It's flawless. She looks fantastic. Her hair is curled beautifully. She looks amazing. So she's best dressed. Worst dressed. Now the great thing about this era of wrestling is if you can't pick anyone out to give worst dress to, there's always going to be one person that you can rely on. And that person, for me, is Jerry the King Lawler.
There we go.
He was just wearing one of his stupid Shein-looking gold shirts.
Fucking hell, one of those.
With, the buttons down to, like, underneath his boobies. And he's
like a Hong Kong mob boss type thing, but from Tinu.
Yeah. He's on this slicked back hair, but with like one kind of curl. Oh, he's just got such a horrible, gross face, and he's such a slime ball. I can't stand the bastard. So he's my worst dressed. Melina, honey, you're doing amazing. We're so proud of you. You're our best dressed for the night.
Yeah, an ignore king.
An ignore. Yeah. So that wraps up Unforgiven 2006.
It does.
It was nice to take a step back in time to my childhood, when things were a bit simpler and a bit less, the world is burning.
Yeah, right.
It was nice to do that for a couple of hours. Jack.
Hello.
This is the part that I can't wait for.
Yeah.
What's the next show that we're watching?
So we're going to stay in Canada and we're going to stay in Toronto.
Oh.
We're just going to move into the future 10 years and we're going to go watch Survivor Series 2016.
Okay. Immediately one match springs to mind.
Yeah.
So I look forward to discussing that with you.
Absolutely, yeah. We'll go away and we will watch that. Yeah, no, it's another brand split pay-per-view from 2016 this time, so it'll be interesting to see and compare from WWE now, 10 years ago, and then WWE when we watched the 2006 show. So I think, it's a decent little bridge, let's say. So yeah.
Lovely. Well, folks, that's going to be it from us this week. Thank you all for tuning in. And we'll see you next week for Survivor Series 2016. So it's goodbye from me. Goodbye.
And goodbye from me.